Beto ORourke, when is enough enough? I'm Dr. Dan. I run a communication and influence business. I help entrepreneurs make their message matter. And in this video, we're gonna break down Beto ORourke's latest loss in Texas and ask the question, when is enough enough? So here's a guy, Beto ORourke, who recently lost the governor race in Texas. But that's not the kicker. He has lost 3 races in the last 3 election cycles. And I want to talk about one thing that he does well that has put him in this position, and 3 other things that he's missing the mark on for you to be able to take away a message so that you don't miss it in your communication, your influence, and in your impact. And oh, by the way, I want to hear your comments. I want to hear your feedback, good, bad, and different. Come on. Just spell my name right, but I want to know exactly what you're thinking, because here's a guy who just keeps showing up, and so there's some resilience to this guy. This is my positive, is he has resilience. He can take some hits. He can take some losses, literally take losses and keep coming back. A guy that has spent $175 million in donor money over the last 4 years and 3 lost elections. You could argue he's being a puppet to somebody, and he's being a good puppet because he keeps showing up and keeps saying the things that someone's telling him to say and paying him to say. But there are also some takeaways. Now, if you followed any of the content I put out, you would probably come to recognize pretty quickly, I am a conservative Christian capitalist. I love business, I love Jesus, and I love helping entrepreneurs communicate better effectively so they can take their mission, their message, their product, their service, their offers to the world to make it a better place. So you may be asking yourself the question, why am I talking about somebody who's on the other side? Because there's an important lesson here. This is a guy who has one big thing going well, and that is the story that he tells himself. I study story, I study the power of story, I study the better ways to tell stories. Why? Because stories influence the decision-making part of the brain like nothing else. And I always start with my clients, the first and most important story you're ever gonna have in your life is the story between your ears. What's the story you're telling yourself to get up and do the thing that you know you need to do to create the impact you're called to make? Well, Beto is clearly telling himself a story that is good, that helps him keep coming back even after the hits. It's not about how hard you hit, it's about how many times you can get hit and continue moving forward. And Beto has clearly showed that. It starts with the story in his head, and then it becomes this resilience to continue to move forward. Or the third thing I really respect about Beto is his ability to raise funds to continue his sport of his campaigns. Because there's a skill set to being able to get people to continue to donate money to back a candidate. And clearly, the Democrats in Texas continue to give money despite all the L's this guy has taken. The problem is that you gotta know your avatar, which is your perfect prospect. You gotta know the problems they have, and you have to know your unique ability to solve those problems. And then you have to know it at such a depth that they can get behind you because they recognize you are an expert. You are a credible leader. You have not just shown up here because somebody told you to do so. And if you watch and study his campaign, you will see he just said the same things over and over and over again. He sought to attack his opponents instead of providing solutions to problems and giving valid reasons why he has the unique skill set, intelligence, and strategy to overcome the current Texas challenges. And looking back at the people who have come out and said this is where he got it wrong, he continually just tried to dig and dig and dig at his opponent versus giving something productive, saying things that made people move. In a political spectrum, you're just trying to get the middle ground. You know you got the extreme on one side, you got the extreme on the other side. What you need to do is you need to move the middle neutral. There's always a middle group that are willing to go one way or the other. You gotta know who they are. You gotta know what they want. You gotta have an ability to communicate effectively so they feel you, believe you, and trust you. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why I teach the power of story, because story actually is the single greatest way to reach through the skeptical centers of the brain and go right to the trust center. And there's a good way to do that and a great way to do that. And the greatest way is through story. And if you watch Beto compared to his competitors in every race, he fell short of this. So whether you're running for office or you're trying to grow your business to the next level, you have to first recognize, what is my USP? That's what we call your unique selling proposition. If you're a political candidate, you have to have something unique that sets you apart from everybody else. If you're a business owner, you have to have something unique to set you apart. I was recently talking with a friend of mine who owns a very big business, and he's trying to help small business owners learn what he didn't know. But his big take is they need to know processes and systems above all else. And I disagreed with him. I said those are important, but you first have to have a reason why you're different than everybody else. In my opinion, it's not just the systems and processes, because anybody can learn those. Give yourself a reason why you uniquely should have better systems and processes, because you have something that they need that solves a problem that they have and nobody else can get it the way you deliver it. So number one is your unique selling proposition. Again, if I'm coaching Beto, it's what was your unique selling proposition? He missed this time and time again. The second thing is you have to communicate to the payoff. The human brain is wired to want to know what's in it for me. WIIFM. That's what radio station they're tuned into, because they need to understand the payoff. Not the pieces, not the process, the payoff. What are they going to get out of it? And why would they be so drawn for you to give that to them? And here's a little hint. If you're in any form of business, there's three major categories of payoffs that humans really care about. Number one is money and power. Number two is relationships. And number three is health. If you do something that can influence one of those three, that's the payoff you want to be emphasizing. Again, going back to Beto, he missed opportunities with the Texas people to explain how different he was, how he was going to change the trajectory of what was currently going on, and the payoff to the people who deserve the results. And the third thing, which I talk about all the time, is you gotta have something good to say. You gotta know exactly how to say it, and then you have to say it often. So you have to communicate effectively. The people that change the world don't just have great ideas. They have an ability to communicate the value of those ideas that inspire people to believe and behave differently. So have something good to say, know exactly how to say it well, and say it often. So there you have it. Beto, I'm here to tell you, it may be time to go a different direction or utilize that skill set of resilience, and probably we'll see you in the next election cycle. Listen, if you disagree with anything I have to say, please leave me a comment. Let's debate about it. Let's talk about it. My goal is to help you become a better communicator, and by evaluating those who win and those who lose in the marketplace, I think you'll see how to better do it for yourself. There it is. Dr. Dan, I'm out.